All right, let's get into it. So today's music topic is a topic that is relative to all art forms. I tend to think about it in the parallel that I think about most frequently. It would be film. I think music and movies have always kind of had a very parallel relationship. There's a lot of things that I mean they go hand in hand, right? Um, well, so I know in the show Entourage, I think, but it specifically like you think about filmmaking and actors and like they'll do like a indie film art piece that they love the script, and then they'll go do a Marvel blockbuster superhero movie, and like you both of them play pivotal roles in their career. I mean, you need the blockbuster success to, um, you know, financially and get your name out there, like all that stuff. Like those things are all beneficial, and then you need the art piece to fulfill your inner desire to be an artist and to find the work that really touches you and hopefully touches other people and has real meaning to you. And frankly, you do the like that's the reason you create for a lot of people. I don't want to speak for other people, but like that's the reason that a lot of us fall in love with making art is because of the emotional impact it can have and probably the emotional impact it had on the artist themselves. That's why they get into it. I know me, like music touched me so much that I was like, all right, now I want to create music that does the same for other people. Like that was like I started creating music at a very important time in my life when I was, losing my first identity as a basketball player and as an athlete, and I was losing that identity, and I was searching for a new one in certain respect, and music spoke to me heavily. And specifically like artists like Kid Cudi is somebody who's I'm going to bring up in here as an example. He's somebody who not only just me, but he spoke to a lot of young people who were looking for themselves, who were going through some shit, who were just maybe down and out for a little bit. Like he really did a great job at like speaking to the youth in like a very easy way to understand and comprehend, and with great music. Like he is a great example of somebody who he made art pieces that really mattered, and they also crossed over into pop success. Like they just did. And a lot of like, great artists have been able to do that. Like that's like the mark of a great artist is you're able to still keep your artistic integrity and touch the masses with popular successes. It's like the goal for every artist, right? And so as a young indie artist, I'm trying to get better every day. Just musically, I'm trying to get better at the actual skill set of just like everything that goes into it. You're trying to get better, and every artist should be trying to get better and improve their craft, right? But what I kind of wanted to bring up was like the idea of like going into a studio session, thinking to yourself like either I'm coming in and I have this message that I want to convey, and I want to make a record that speaks emotionally to this idea, this subject matter, whatever it may be. Maybe it's a breakup or something, right? Or do you come in thinking I want to make a song that sounds like Machine Gun Kelly, you know, my ex's best friend or something like that. Like I want to sound like a radio hit. Like I want to make a song like that. I want to make a song in that same sound vein because I know that sound is hitting the masses right now. It's super popular. People like that sound. I want to create something like that so that I can be heard by a lot of people. Um Now I guess it's not so, like nothing is, it's not so black and white. You answer yes or no or this way or that way. There's probably a lot of both things. If you come in with a message that you're trying to talk, if you're coming, you're trying to make a breakup record, right? Because you just went through a heartbreak. You're probably, you probably also want it to be successful. So you want to figure out a way to make it, easily palpable, I guess, for people. But is that a thought that's really important? To you as an artist, I guess I would ask, like when you come into the studio, are you like, is it a balance? Is it like I want to make a hit, but I has to say this, or is it like do you come in saying I just want to make a hit first? Like I think I think the real answer, at least I'm just gonna speak for myself, is both. I definitely try to do both, and like so I'll just give the examples of this, my newest stuff, like uh, so if I'm being 100% honest with myself and with you guys, the other side, the album, I'm gonna release these little pictures that went with how I made how I came up with the track list and how I came up with the whole theme. And these are little pieces of paper that I was writing on were like a year and a half old. Like I've been writing on forever. Point being, I when I finished the project and I was putting it together, and I knew it was an art piece for me. I mean, like I drew out like how I thought the message would get across best because of the storyline that I was going through. Like I made like a hill where the first side is light and the second side is dark, and the songs go up the hill and come back down the hill. Like it was an art piece for me. Like I was very focused on making sure the storyline was right. Now, with all that said, I did want to have some hits and like some successful records, but I knew, like I've told other people, like I knew, like I mean, especially if you go back to my catalog all year, like I had been dropping singles that were more upbeat, that were with other production from other producers that like My Biz, for example, or It's Okay. Like those songs to me were gonna be on the album and they were like more hits, like more like I know that people could like at least just rock with these, play with them easily. Um, like I knew, and I purposely didn't put those on the album because I didn't feel like they fit the story and the art piece as well as I wanted them to. So I kind of like I'm not like, of course, retrospect 20, looking back in retrospect, like what am I'm trying to say here? Hindsight is 2020. Jeez. Hindsight is 2020. So yeah, of course I can easily look back and be like, yeah, I knew there were no hits on that record. I was just trying to tell a story. Like that is kind of how I feel, but at the same time, I thought some of the records might have been more successful. Like, of course, when I'm making them, I think like these are rocking. But I can really look at them and look at that body of work and be like, yeah, I can tell that I didn't, I didn't come into that saying this one is going to be a radio hit. This one is going to be like that. Like I just did it. And whether or not that sounds like me bragging about it, like I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm better, I'm more artistic or anything. I'm just saying that I knew that. So then, like for instance, Detention, this other single that I'm dropping, I knew that was more like banger, aggressive, like me talking with my shit, whatever, just being like that. Like, so I was like, all right, I want to drop that separately and just still push those records and then push the album separately as like an art piece. Like, um, so I mean, I hope but the thing when you do that though is I think it's a bit harder to gain new fans doing a project like that. It's almost like you do that for the fans that you have. And like and when you're trying to be on the come up, that might not be the best strategy. But I will say, like my homie, I was just talking to, shout out to E Word. He's a producer, and we were just talking about my album. He was giving me some reviews, and like the one thing he said to me, which I completely agree with, and frankly, I think is accurate. It tells the story about what I was trying to do. Is like some of the songs on the other side are so personal, and like a lot of my music is so personal. I like really talk about specific stories that sometimes the replay value is not the same as it would be like on It's Okay or My Biz or any other hit record like that because yeah, I don't know, it's just like the personal nature of some of the records are like, yeah, you want to listen to the story and get into it, but like you don't always want to get deep and emotional and maybe that's an excuse for just saying the music isn't that great, but I don't think it was. I know him. He's my guy. Like he would have told me like some shit was off. Like he was very forthcoming about like the songs that he liked and what was better and whatnot. And frankly, I just like I said before, liking music, good or bad, is all subjective. I'm proud of the project, and I think that it's pretty quality. The mixing's good. The beats are. I'm improving my production skills. I'm not saying it's perfect by any means, but point being is that like he did say like but like there's something to focusing on making an album a specific way and doing it, and that's how I felt about it. That's why I'm really still care about albums a lot, and I really like that that the structure of albums is now being dissected again. Like the cohesiveness of an album is being dissected again. Like that shit is really important to me. I love that stuff. Um, so the example I was going to use with Kid Cudi, is he is one who had such mainstream success early on. Like I was talking about, he really emotionally touched a lot of the youth, a lot of young people. I mean, I know not just me, like a lot of people that say that Kid Cudi like almost saved their life. They'll say it. I mean, that whole his whole, I mean, Kid Named Cudi and then Into Man on the Moon 1, like those two, that section right there, man, he was, and Man on the Moon 2 too, to speak to that. But anyways, so he did all that mainstream success, and then he really, he was trying to get into his own production skills and do his own thing and make his own shit. And so you got albums like Indie Cud, and then he made the rock album, and then he did a bunch of things that like people were going off saying Kid Cudi fell off, Kid Cudi fell off, Kid Cudi fell off. He did a bunch of projects that were for him, like they say for an actor, like one for you, one for them, or whatever, however they may be, or maybe two for them, one for you. Kid Cudi did like four for himself, and then now he's starting to come back and doing like records with other producers and back for the masses. But I know that a lot of fans and shit were talking shit about him exploring his own art and doing other creative things, saying that he needed to get back to the sound that they love so much. Um, but then his real fans would be like, he's exploring, he's trying. I mean, I don't know. So it's a tough thing to do. I think as an artist myself, I'd say I do both. I mostly do the make art for myself and messages that I like and messages that matter to me and to get out there. I definitely do that more than focusing on making a hit. But like, I have plenty of times where I come in and just like on certain days where I'm just like, "No, today we just let's try to make a banger. Let's try to make a hit. Let's try to make that, whatever." And I mean, with where I'm at level wise, I need to focus more on that and making hits and making just more easily listenable music to the masses where I can still get off and do my bars and shit, but then, people can relate on a broader sense. I don't know, just a topic I wanted to talk about. I think it's interesting. One for you, one for them. How does that work? I don't know. How do you create? I guess would be the question I want to pose to you. Do you go into your studio sessions thinking I want to make a hit, or thinking I want to make something that artistically means a lot to me, and I want to explore a different side of my art? What do you think? Well, how do you explore? I don't know. Let me know, and we'll talk more about it. Appreciate you guys.